Ben, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing now with your buyers? Is there anything that's happened, like anything common, or like are you running into the same issues like time and time again, or how's that going?
Yeah, no, I think one of the common issues can be a lot of time income.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the scenarios that I see, whether it is overtime, bonus, commission, a gap in employment. If you don't have a seasoned loan officer that's looking at that, you're in trouble.
Hmm.
Because I couldn't tell you how many files that I get that they may have been declined by another lender, but we know what to say in a letter of explanation to that underwriter, and we know
Yeah.
how to document it to get
Exactly.
it approved. And that's the difference between someone who's been in the business for 10, 15 years and someone who's at a retail shop that's been doing this for a year or two,
Yeah.
right? Um,
Actually, going based off of that, you used to be in the retail space, right?
yeah,
How was that? How'd you start? Tell us
Yeah.
how'd you start in this business?
Yeah, so forever grateful to Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, downtown Des Moines, 800 Walnut Street. Shout out Wells Fargo. They took me right out of high school. So,
Wow.
Right out of high school, 2016, graduated 2017, I was at Wells Fargo. So worked there for about 5 years. Made sales conference, was like number 3 on the platform when I left and got recruited to a bank out of New York and Michigan. Now Flagstar Bank is the name of that bank. So
Nice.
yeah, did the retail thing for almost over half a decade. Well, over half a decade. And that really gave me a good footing.
Yeah.
You know,
No,
you
of
learn
course.
how
You're talking
to
about more than
run
5 years.
Yeah, run AUS. What's the underwriter looking for? DTI, credit. But it's very cookie cutter, fit in the box.
You only
know?
had access to, I'm guessing, a limited number of programs, right?
Right, yeah. So FHA, VA, conventional, those products. We never did any of the bank statement. And that's really when, I wanted more for my clients. And, rates went up and the industry kind of shrank. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, if I want to go back into this and do this again, I don't want to be in retail. So I'm
Yeah.
like, how does this broker thing work? And, how can I step into it? And I found LendingHouse, and it's just amazing all the different products that we have that you don't have at the retail shops.
Yeah.
But
And
it was
they-
great to start there, and then that's really when I fell in love with it.
Nice, man.
I don't have any college degree or anything really to fall back on, just my mortgage experience. I'll
Nice.
take that all day long.
And so, exactly. I was
What
just about
about
to say.
you?
No, same. My journey has been a little crazy. I never imagined myself doing this. Back when I was a teenager, fresh out of high school. I actually studied for aviation. I used to be a turbine technician.
Really?
Yeah. I even had my airframe and power plant license. So my
Wow.
career was in aviation. But then COVID came around. I lost my job, and my second choice was going to be getting into IT. But in order to make what I was making in aviation, I was gonna have to get many degrees in IT. And you're probably familiar with the field, but there's a lot of different fields you can go through in IT.
Yeah.
But obviously they all require education, which requires time, requires years of studying, which I just didn't have because I lost my job.
Right.
So I'm like, my mom and my sister, they're realtors, and they were always recommending for me to get into mortgage loans, and that way, I work as a team with my mom and my sister. And so I actually took those words to heart after trying IT and realizing that I just wasn't gonna have enough time for it. And so I got my loan license. I started establishing relationships with different realtors that clients that my mom and my sister had already ready
Yeah.
for pre-approval. And it just started from there. And honestly, I think the joy of helping people buy their first home or buy their fifth home or whatever, but just the satisfaction of helping people achieve their goals, it's really made this job for me like not more than a job. Like I feel like this is what I was meant to do.
100%.
And
Yeah.
sometimes life gives you it goes around in circles. Sometimes it can put you through some crazy things, but at the end of the day, I'm here where I am now. I'm very grateful that I got here.
Yeah, no. Life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
Lemonade,
baby,
exactly,
all
man.
day long. Yeah, no, the amount of freedom that you have being a successful mortgage broker compared to working a 9 to 5 is
That's
second
another
to
thing.
none.
Yeah.
You have a baby, right?
Yeah.
Newborn. And you get to be with them, watch them grow. Boy or girl, I'm sorry.
Boy.
You baby boy. You get to watch your baby boy grow and be there with him as he's growing up. And maybe one day he'll get in the same industry,
Yeah.
Whereas if you're working a 9 to 5, you don't see him,
No. And no, and it's like you said, if you're working 9 to 5, you don't really have anything to leave for your son, for your kid,
Right.
Because that 9 to 5 job, it doesn't belong to you; it belongs to somebody else.
Whereas you're building something.
You're building somebody
Building a
else's
business,
wealth.
yeah.
Exactly.
Generational business. Yeah.
And then the day comes along that you're no longer needed, and they're like, bye bye.
Bye.
Go home. We don't need you anymore. And
Yep.
all those years of sacrifice that you gave for them.
You could work at a company for 20 years in a certain sector, and get laid off due to a restructure that you had no idea about.
Yep.
They say, great working with you. You have nothing to show for it.
Nothing to show for it. Exactly.
Whereas this, you're building your own business.
Exactly. You're building something that you can hopefully hand down, one day to your children, to your kid. So being self-employed in general, it is very challenging because you don't, a 9 to 5 job, again, it has its drawbacks, but it does offer some sort of security. At least until they restructure, until they get, until some corporate shareholder says that they no longer need you for the profits, you have a certain sense of job security, which as self-employed, you never really have that job security because you always need to be hustling. You always need to be grinding to get your next deal, to get your loan in. So it changes the way you view things. It kind of changes the way you work. Because now you're not really on autopilot. Now you really do need to make a conscious effort to make money, to make sure you get your next loan in, because that's what's gonna put your bread on the table. You know what I mean? So it kind of makes your mind go through like a sort of a transformation. But if you get through it, then it really does turn you into a much better person because you have now become self-sufficient. You're no longer needing to have somebody to give you a paycheck. You can actually get it for yourself.
Right. And that's a great feeling, knowing that if you do a good job, more deals are going to come out of it.
Exactly.
You can rest easy at night.
Exactly.
Knowing that you're good at your job and you can drop Josiel in any city in America. And in 3 to 6 months, he's going to have a pipeline of referral agents sending him business because he does a good job the first time. Closes on time. Doesn't charge crazy fees. Gives a great product and great pricing to the client and communicates well.
Yeah.
And that's the recipe for success.
100%.
Josiel, can you tell me a little bit about our team that we have that supports us?
Yeah, no, we have a great team, man. I think, honestly, our support is second to none. But definitely a huge shout-out goes out to Dan Mylan from UWM. I think Dan is probably the most kick-ass account executive that we work with, honestly. He gets us. He's in our generation. He's from our generation.
Yep.
But overall, really distinguishes him is just how much of a hard worker he is. How knowledgeable he is with UWM's products. Having like that somebody in your field, on your side, it's really a huge benefit because working with Dan, it means that if you have a problem with a loan in UWM, all you have to do is just call Dan, and he'll 9 times out of 10 he'll know exactly how to solve your problem.
Yeah.
And just the fact that he's almost always available, even on the weekends, that's something that you don't really get with other lenders, with other account executives, and that's really what sets Dan apart. And honestly, I've been working with him for like 5 years since I started LendingHouse, and it's been a great 5 years with him. Honestly, like I said again, and I'll say it again, he's a great account executive. He's probably one of the best that I've worked with. And I hope to continue working with him because honestly, the guy's the bomb.
Yeah. Dan the man.
Dan the man.
If you're out there, we love you, bro. You're great. He's second to none. He's a character, and you can put your trust in him that if you need help, he will pick up the phone on a weekend, on a Saturday, when he doesn't have to be working.
Nope.
But I've got a question about a 0 credit score that pulled through and what I should do. And what does Dan do? He picks up the phone.
Yeah.
So that's really the great separator. And just talking about the backbone of our team and who we have supporting us behind the curtains is just as much important as who is on the front lines.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a good fulfillment team, a good process to get that loan to closing on time, it's going to be a mess.
Yep.
So shout out to you, big dog.
Yeah. Shout out to Dan, man. Dan the man.
Dan the man.